We'll be here with all the results we have when we come back.
Moments from now, we're live in the battleground states as results come in. Polls are already closed in 9 states. They're about to close in the key states of Florida and Pennsylvania when Election Night 2020 continues on ABC.
ABC News, straightforward.
Razorcrest, stand down.
I've been quested to bring this one back to its kind. If I can locate other Mandalorians, they can guide me.
This is no place for a child.
Wherever I go, he goes.
The Mandalorian, new season now streaming only on Disney+.
The reality is our country can collapse from within.
You see the white power movement on the march. Klansmen and neo-Nazis, skinheads, it's meant to incite war.
From the KKK to Oklahoma City to Charlottesville, the new documentary event special.
We just need to start talking about race.
Homegrown hate, the war among us.
This is a real wake-up call.
Streaming now on ABC News Live.
Hello? This is Montana Highway Patrol. You're looking for a couple of missing teenagers.
That's right. Last seen in a red Focus.
The steering wheel's getting stiff.
Lock the door. We're fine.
Got ourselves a predicament.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know seems to change.
Well,
Election
night
2020.
2020.
16 more states, and we have more results. In the state of New
Trump
Jersey,
2020.
Joe Biden will win the state of New Jersey. Chris Christie, I guess that's not a surprise.
Believe it. You're going to tell me Cory Booker won next? I'm really going to pass.
We will check that. Another projection also, state of Massachusetts. Joe Biden will win the state of Massachusetts there, and it's 11 electoral votes. Joe Biden will win the state of Maryland, and it's 10 electoral votes. A pickup for Donald Trump in the state of Oklahoma. He won that last time around.
Oklahoma.
7 electoral votes at play, and Donald Trump will win those. Joe Biden will win his home state of Delaware, and it's 3 electoral votes. Joe Biden will win the District of Columbia, and it's 3 electoral votes. But let's take a look down in the map now and see what we show. Oklahoma and Kentucky for President Trump, Vermont, and those states up in the Northeast, Massachusetts, Maryland, Delaware, and New Jersey for Joe Biden right now. Still early in the night, 6 states to 2, 44 electoral votes to 15. Let's take a deeper dive now at the state of Ohio in the middle of the country. 28% of the expected vote is in, and right now, at least, Tom Yamas, Joe Biden has a lead.
Yeah, and actually, there's some good news for Joe Biden out of Ohio. The Biden campaign didn't really contest Ohio, and they made some last-minute trips there, and here's why they have reasons to be happy. In counties like Wood that went for Barack Obama, then switched over to President Trump, you can see Joe Biden is on top, 55% of the vote in, but you can see he's overperforming from Hillary Clinton 4 years ago. Another one of those counties that President Trump was able to swing, Trumbull County, you can see Joe Biden again on top. He's up almost 10 points there as well. But, you know, Ohio's all about the 3 C's, and George, I know you know this. Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati. We don't have information for Cincinnati yet, but in Columbus and in Cleveland, Cuyahoga County, Joe Biden is doing really well. They're 74%. He's up almost 10 points from where Hillary Clinton was. These are the areas where Democrats have to really run up the vote. Lake County, which is always a nail-biter, 51 to 47 there. His numbers are really good compared to Hillary Clinton 4 years ago.
Tom, thanks. What have we seen in the exit polls?
Yeah, it's really different. Tom pointed out some encouraging numbers, but the exit polls reflect something slightly different in Ohio. If you take a look at the president's job performance in Ohio, 54% approve, 44% disapprove. This is the strongest number we're seeing in that sort of upper Midwest of the country. And when you break it down to those 2 central issues, containing COVID, rebuilding the economy, 48% say the pandemic is more important to try to contain. But here's where it gets interesting, George. I was digging a little deeper here. The vast majority of Ohio voters prefer Trump over Biden to handle the pandemic moving forward, 51 to 46%. And that's even with the governor, Mike DeWine, who's received such high marks for his handling of the pandemic in recent days, saying it's raging throughout the state, but still Ohio voters, despite what they're seeing with COVID, believe President Trump is the best to handle this moving
Yvette
forward.
Simpson, your home state, what do you make of the early results?
You know, it's looking good. Even in places like Delaware County and Mahoning County, we're seeing Joe Biden outperform Hillary Clinton by 10, 20%, which is really great. And as you know, Ohio has got a lot to prove. We made presidents, we made Barack Obama both times, and so I think Ohio has a chip on his shoulder, and we're ready to flip back to blue in this one. A lot of hard work going on in Ohio, and hopefully we can deliver for Joe Biden today.
We saw Joe Biden make a late play in Ohio, a late play in your home state of Iowa.
Yeah, for sure.
Look, take a look
well,
at the quality.
Iowa, though, I'm not
one.
pessimistic yet.
Yeah, look at this
I think
one.
the first
Quality's
votes often
different.
come in are the absentees. We've seen Democrats do very well
I think
across
it's
the
a
country with
Galaxy,
absentees. So
S10.
I expect that Ohio will close strong
That has
for the
the best
president.
quality.
In Iowa, there seems to be a lot of momentum for Republicans. And what we see across the board here is that places you expect
Mom, you get it for
Republicans
me?
to win appear to be
Samsung Galaxy
closer for
S10.
Republicans. Really, North Carolina, Georgia, that's what this is going to come down to tonight.
Okay, thanks very much. Let's go to Adrian Bankert in Columbus. Adrian, as David Muir said, COVID has been raging through the state of Ohio for the last several weeks.
Yes, that's right, George. In fact, new numbers posted today saying that there were over 4,200 new cases of the virus here in Ohio, 33 more deaths. That takes the number of total cases up to more than 225,000 in this state. Now, that is one concern for voters here in Ohio, but their major concern is the economy, joblessness, workers needing employment, and they overall, according to our early data, show that they believe that Trump can handle this more than Biden. But again, every poll is very, very tight, and this is a toss-up state. This is showing that the results are tied between Trump and Biden. But again, this could be a very historic signpost for the election. There have only been 2 exceptions where Ohio didn't call the presidential winner. In fact, if you just look back at history, whoever wins Ohio lends itself to winning the presidency, winning the nomination. So we're awaiting those numbers. The polls closed at 7:30, though. Anybody who is in line still could be seen and still could cast their ballot. But again, those numbers for COVID, a big concern, and a lot of people are looking at joblessness. And like you guys are talking about in studio, the ability for Ohio to flip between red and blue is certainly something we have seen.
Pretty hard and fast rule. Republicans do not win the White House if they don't win Ohio. Adrian Bankert, thanks very much. Let's go back to Florida. Now 25,000 votes or so separate Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
85. Trump has 55.
Yeah, he's ahead, and I'll tell you one data point right now that to me is the most interesting so far. The absentee early vote, 77% of the expected vote in. That's going to be the early vote. And look at these numbers, George. The conventional wisdom was that Democrats were going to blow out Republicans in the early vote. And in Florida right now, it is neck and neck. Every time we look at the state, it's getting closer and closer. But what we have to keep our eye on right here is this section of the state right here. We're talking about Pensacola, the Panhandle. That is Trump country. The votes are still out there, and it's important because this is such a close race. One of the problems, besides Miami-Dade County for Joe Biden, is that he's underperforming in some Democratic counties, places like Osceola. He has a big lead there, but he's underperforming from where Hillary Clinton was 4 years ago. We look at Orlando, which was ravaged by COVID, especially the economy there. He's doing a little better there. That's a good spot for him. And he's made some gains in places like Jacksonville, Duval. This is a Republican county. He's winning right there. It is so close right now, George. We're going to have to keep our eye on this state minute by minute because we're talking about thousands of votes at certain parts of the night.
Okay, Tom Yamas. Mary Bruce, what is the Biden campaign telling you about Florida?
Well, all day long they have been telling us that they knew that Florida was going to be a toss-up. They, I suspect, are pouring over these numbers just like we are. Look, in areas like Miami-Dade, for instance, they never expected to do as well as Hillary Clinton did there, but I suspect they are very surprised to see just how close it is in that area right now. They have spent a lot of time, really the entire Biden team, fanning out across the state in these final days. Joe Biden was in Florida today, the candidate's wife, Barack Obama, Biden's not-so-secret biggest weapon in this race in many days. Obama was in Florida 3 times in just the last 2 weeks, including in that critical Miami-Dade area. So they put a lot of effort into trying to get out the vote there. And so much of the message there, of course, on the pandemic as they try to target senior voters. I think especially about one moment in particular, Biden, during one of his 3 free trips to the state, speaking to a group of seniors and saying how many of them this year haven't been able to go out and hug their grandchildren, trying to directly tie the president's handling of this pandemic to their own personal lives, to their own families. That is a message that the Biden team is hopeful will resonate in the state. But man, it is very close right now. I know they are looking at these numbers just as closely as we are, George.
They certainly are. Cecilia Vega, the president changed his registration earlier this year to vote in Florida.
Yeah, George, I think it's hard for a lot of people to remember because we think of Donald Trump as a New Yorker, but he is now a Florida resident. The First Lady just voted in Florida this morning. He changed his residence from New York to Florida not too long ago, and this is a state that he has visited more than any other during the course of his presidency. Some 82 visits over the course of the last 4 years, and he has been there numerous times over the course of this election and spent $78 million down there in Florida. And our team is hearing from sources who are telling us that the president, George, is over the moon with the numbers that he is seeing come in from Florida, especially Miami-Dade. I think they thought that the Democrats would have an advantage at this stage of the night looking at the early voting that was happening there on their end. So they are clearly very pleased with what they are seeing at this point. And we're also told, George, that President Trump inside is watching these returns between the residence and the East Room here in the White House where that event is taking place.
Okay, Cecilia, thanks very much. Nate Silver, let's remind everybody what happens to your projection if Donald Trump actually wins the state of Florida.
So yeah, let's see, he's at 10%. It's going to shoot way up if he wins Florida. It's going to take a little bit of time to calculate here. But Trump, if he wins Florida, is much more in the running. He's about a 1 in 3 chance of winning overall. The one silver lining for Biden a bit is that this seems to be mostly concentrated among Cubans in South Florida. It might not translate to other parts of the country. But, Florida would be the first step toward a Trump upset.
Okay, Nate Silver, thanks very much. Let's take a look at the key state of Georgia right now. Let's pull that up. We've got about 11% of the expected vote in, and Donald Trump has the lead. Tanyamas.
Yeah, let's take a look at Georgia right now. We do want to say, though, there's a lot of the vote that is not in Georgia, and that's important because you have the state of Georgia, and then you have the state of Atlanta and the suburbs. And 50% of the vote for the state of Georgia is going to come out of here. So, George, it is still very, very early. Any signs for either campaign? Look, there's a lot of red counties. Georgia got redder in those red counties after 2016, but the blue counties expanded. They got bluer. So many people moving to Georgia. Right now, it's tough to say whose state this is. Only 11% of the voting in a lot of the Atlanta metro area still needs to come in. We can't talk about Cobb County. Cobb County wants the home of Newt Gingrich, and at 63%, with 31% of the vote in, Joe Biden's overperforming Hillary Clinton. If he's going to win Georgia, he has to win big in Atlanta and the surrounding suburbs. And tonight, right now, if this holds, and this is the trend, that's good news for Joe Biden.
One of the other ones, I don't know if you can pull it up. Can you pull up Gwinnett County?
It's not in yet. We don't have information for it yet, but that was one of the counties that Hillary Clinton flipped 4 years ago. We're going to be watching it closely so far. And the reason why we don't have information, I want to explain this to our voters, we want to make sure we have enough of a sample in to kind of say who's winning what and the votes have been counted. We're not there yet, so we're not going to touch it, George.
What are we seeing in the exits there?
A couple of things out of Georgia, George, to take a look at. First of all, let's take a look at, they just switched this up on me right here. Let's take a look at Georgia's job performance. 50% approve of the job that President Trump is doing on the all-important issue. 51%, though, say the pandemic is most important. But I've been diving into some of the numbers in Georgia. The racial and ethnic makeup, minorities making up 4 in 10 Georgia voters. That matches the 2016 numbers for Hillary Clinton. When it comes to moderates, even 39%. With conservatives, that also matches 4 years ago. Now, this is interesting. In Atlanta, strong support in Atlanta brought Clinton to within 5 points of Trump 4 years ago. That is up slightly to 20% of the voters. There's a slight uptick there. But again, he's holding his own in the exit polls, the president in Georgia. They're giving him the edge in handling the pandemic moving forward as well.
T.J. Holmes is in Atlanta. What are you hearing on the ground?
Well, we're here on the ground here. You all made those important points there about where I am. I'm standing in this Atlanta metro area where, yes, this is a big state, 159 counties, but 50% of the vote is wrapped up in 4 counties right here in this surrounding area. You've been talking about Cobb and Gwinnett counties. Those 2 counties, yes, Hillary Clinton lost this state by 5 percentage points, but she picked up Gwinnett and Cobb County. Those are 2 counties that are the second and third most populous counties in